You're listening to the Back Porch Talk Podcast. Danny and Jason had many discussions and debates on the back porch while making pivotal investment moves with assets. That's right, with trading cards. They welcome you to the back porch and right into those discussions about current sports news with a fresh and unique twist. So come on and join us. Welcome to the Back Porch Talk Podcast. I'm your co-host, Jason.
Your co-host, Danny.
And fans, we have a special edition show for you today. We are celebrating 5 years of providing some fresh and unique twist to the sports world. And man, we just have so much to be thankful for. We have so much to just highlight some of our favorite shows, moments, trading card scenarios, whatever, you name it. And then we're going to have a little discussion about Formula One, get into the March Madness, and maybe NBA if we got enough time. But Danny, we started this show in the middle of COVID. And remember when the fellas was texting and we were like, man, we might as well just go ahead and do our show. We've been thinking about this for a long time of doing it. And COVID and those text messages, I think we just were like, screw it. We're going to go ahead and just do the show. We went ahead and did it. And then, we refined it. Fellas seem to enjoy it, broaden out to the world. And so just as I say that, fans, go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and like. Does well with the algorithms. But Danny, what say you about this mark in time, 5 years of Back Porch Talk Podcast?
Jason, it's been a journey for sure, man. I think we're doing our initial runs, and where we started to where we're at now is night and day. We learned a lot and very appreciative to all the people that gave feedback and helped us refine things, update things. Everything is never done, right? Work is never done. So we'll continue to work. But to get to this moment in time of 5 years, man, and we started our first show when Kobe passed that we posted on YouTube.
Yep.
So just think how far back, that was. And then, that show itself. And just over the years on all the different topics we've covered, different trading card scenarios, which we'll touch on. But just in general, man, just want to say thank you to everyone that's helped us along this journey, and look forward to doing many more shows with you, Jay.
Likewise.
Appreciative of you too. It's not easy, being, remote, so to speak, and not being in the same room. But we make it work, and just appreciate you and all the time and effort you put into this as well.
Likewise, man. Likewise. Like I said before, man, to you personally, man, we've been on this life journey together. We walked around a little city called Racine, and that was just a sign of things to come, walking through life together, man. So appreciate you.
Thank you.
And now right on into it. Danny, I have to say there's been several shows that's a highlight. Every show is a highlight. And I'm just going to categorize the shows here. The shows that I really, really enjoy, man, the Sports Year in Review. That's just jam-packed with everything that happened in a year. And it's like, man, you really kind of just sit back and think, and I like our nuance to it. Everybody comes out with the Sports Year in Review, right? Top 10 stories, whatever case may be. But I love how we take the slant on some of those sports stories that does not get highlighted, especially in the HBCU world. And so that show, after my alma mater, FAMU, won the national championship, you talking about exhausted from being a part of that experience.
Mm-hmm.
winning the championship. I remember having a picture and in a restaurant after we won. I was just so tired, but I was just so happy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that stands out, Danny, we started the Back Porch Talk podcast based upon our experience as kids on the back porch trading cards. There has been a renewal of trading cards, more so in the form of Top Shots or being able to purchase cards virtually. Our show on Top Shot stands out big time for me, man. Because I'm like, man, are you kidding me? You can trade moments, videos, if you will,
Yep.
of our favorite players. And so going down that path was very intriguing. The Formula One segments for me has been a treat because it's a new sport that I'm really, really enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
And to talk about it has been very, very good. And so I gotta highlight that. And lastly, Danny,
Mm-hmm.
trading card scenario. There's many trading card scenarios, many where I'm stumped. And quite frankly, man, I go into the show thinking one way, but as I talk, I'm like, man, I might have to go this way. And the trading card scenario that stumped me, Bo Jackson versus Deion Sanders. I remember I picked Deion. You ended up going the side of Deion for football and Bo for baseball. But Deion ultimately because of his Falcons relationship there. So
Mm-hmm.
um just a quick high level. I mean, there's many more trading card scenarios, man, and even shows and everything, but just to categorize, just wanted to provide that. What say you, Danny?
Jason, a couple things. I agree with your statements, man. The NFT show, a couple of those where we opened them live was it was just an experience because that was something
Yep.
we had never done before.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that, and with NFTs when they were really hot at that point in time, they kind of made
Mm-hmm.
a comeback this year, or late last year into this year. But it was an experience, and those are actually pretty cool, I thought.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I think starting it off, man, the last dance.
Oh, yeah.
And because everyone was pretty much locked up in the house, and ESPN comes out with the Last Dance with the Chicago
Mm-hmm.
Bulls and Jordan, and to look forward to each week, it was crazy, and it just brought us back,
Yep.
to when we were in high school and college, and how well the series was done,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and the time they picked because they actually, if you remember, they expedited it because they
Yep.
weren't
Sure
going to
did.
release it until later. But then when COVID hit, nothing was really able to be done from a sports perspective. So those Sunday nights, man, it was something to look forward to. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As far as another topic, man, was Coach Prime.
Yeah.
And Coach Prime going to Jackson State and us following him, calling it out before he actually went to Jackson State, and him going through this whole process with Shador and then Travis Hunter, which then led to Colorado. But just that whole story and Coach Prime and me being a fan of Coach
Mm-hmm.
Prime, being a Falcons fan when he,
Mm-hmm.
you know, he put us on the map, so to speak. It was always something because Coach Prime is one that is not one to hold back his thoughts. Usually, from a positive perspective, to shine lights on things that weren't getting enough attention, especially in the HBCU
Mm-hmm.
realm when he was at Jackson State, and how student athletes weren't getting selected for the draft, just a whole number of things that he brought to the table that weren't getting the attention. And he has the spotlight, he has the following to do that. And I thought that was something that was very intriguing during our time. And will continue to be, right? Because he's still coaching at Colorado, and who knows what will happen in the near future with Shador going pro and Shiloh as well. And another thing is just calling out legends that we weren't really forefront. So I'll say that I wasn't really particularly known or didn't know of was like Lee Elder. And when we
Mm-hmm.
did, the show, with the Masters and
Mm-hmm.
just highlighting those historical figures that really didn't get that shine.
Mm-hmm.
Althea Gibson was
Yep.
another one that comes to mind. We did the show with her, with Serena in tennis. We're big sports fans, but there's always something, like I said, there's always something you can always find out. And that's given us more of an excuse to dig in deeper in some of these topics. And then you identify these individuals, and there's many more that we've talked about, but those just come to mind where
Mm-hmm.
it's just
Mm-hmm.
highlighting them. And one last topic was the Lakers and the Bucks both won a championship
Yes.
since
Yes.
we started this show.
Yeah.
Packers and Falcons, not so much,
Not so
but
much.
Lakers and Bucks have both won a championship during the duration of this show. When you call out trading card scenarios, man, like you mentioned, there are a bunch. The one that kind of stood out to me, it was the Otani Judge one we recently did. We had a couple other ones that
Oh, yeah. Yep.
kind of play to current state is Russell Wilson versus Aaron Rodgers,
Mm-hmm.
Embiid versus Jokic. We had a number of them, and please go back, check them out. We highlighted a lot of those shows individually with the train car scenarios. But that Judge Otani one, man,
Yeah, that was a good one too, man.
it just highlighted just the fun we have with it, but also highlighting these players and these statistics and just the comparisons when you look at it virtually and with the cards making a comeback and things like that. And some of these cards have great value. So we want to continue doing that with the show because I think, like you always mentioned, that's our unique twist
Mm-hmm.
is calling these things out and actually talking these through and actually looking at the physical card, not just the players themselves,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but the actual card and the story behind the card. But those are a couple items I just want to call out.
And now, Danny, a little Formula One talking where the first race in Australia happened this past weekend. And oh boy, we had a race for you. This is going to be a good season. There's a whole lot packed into this first race that ended up with Lando Norris taking the Grand Prix, Max coming in second, George Russell coming in third. And you got to give kudos to the rookie Antonelli from Mercedes coming in fourth. But a lot of this is kind of due to the rain situation. Ferrari totally misjudged this thing. And I don't know if this is a sign of things to come, but Ferrari have had their issues over the years when it comes to just judgment calls, timing in a race. And this race was no different. I thought there was some improvement towards the end of last year with both Leclerc and Carlos Sainz when he was with Ferrari. But man, it reared its ugly head in this first race. And so you had it where towards the end, teams went ahead and got into intermediate tires. Ferrari decides to stay out. Sir Lewis Hamilton was first for a little bit of time. The rain was too bad on slick tires. Had to come in to change out tires. Went from first all the way down to 10th.
Mm-hmm.
And Charles Leclerc ends up in eighth. So at least they went ahead and got some championship points here. But really missed out on a golden opportunity here. For the first time in Sir Lewis Hamilton's career, he's with Ferrari. A couple of mistakes there. I think he learned some things, but going into the race with the rain, some of the learnings probably went out the window, trying to deal with the rain situation. I'm curious as to what's going to happen in the next couple of races here. I think there's got to be a marker though. I think after race number 3, number 4, at that time, okay, y'all should be good now. I don't know how much more you gotta learn about the car
Yep.
at that juncture, you know. So we'll see. What say you, Danny, about Formula One starting off?
Man, the conditions, for those of you who did not see it, try to catch a replay to see these conditions they were driving in, man. It was crazy. There were so many spin outs, crashes. Piastri from McLaren, he actually came back to catch Sir Lewis Hamilton. He spun out because he was in second. He was
Big
running
time.
second.
Yeah. Yep.
Because it was McLaren, then Max Verstappen. They overtook
Mm-hmm.
Max
Mm-hmm.
when Max took the lead. And for him to come back and take ninth, that says a lot about, with Ferrari and that whole situation.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Sir Lewis Hamilton was trying to tell them, I should pit. They're communicating back and forth. So, like you said, it's a learning experience, first race, but just to see, like I said, Piastri come back because I thought he was done. All of a sudden, I see him.
I
I'm
thought
like,
he
where
was
did he
done,
come from?
man. I thought he was done.
Yeah, he came back with a vengeance, and I know he was mad because, like I said, they were running 1-2, but there were a lot of, with the rain was just tough, and with Ferrari, hopefully the conditions are better next race where they can make some adjustments and yeah, they have to get used to each other, right? From a Sir Lewis Hamilton perspective. But Norris looked good. And he held on by a second,
Mm-hmm.
held off Max Verstappen. So looking forward to the next race. But yeah, man, that rain and it paused for a little bit
Yep.
and then it hit again and that
It's
was it.
it's gonna
So
be a great season. It's gonna be a great season. And what came out this weekend, and they timed this right.
yeah.
The Formula One movie that's coming out in June. And I saw the trailer, Danny. I saw it a few times because I was like, this is going to be a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I could see multiple instances of this movie. I could see F1 part 2, part 3, part 4, etc. But man, you got some stars in here, and I think this is going to be good look for Formula One. The sport's going to continue to spread,
Mm-hmm.
and you have your Netflix series, you have a movie. Man, this is good promo for Formula One, and I don't know what ESPN is thinking, man, letting Formula One go
Mm-hmm.
on the heels of a movie coming out.
And the US team and the US cars.
And the U.S. team, Cadillac.
Yep.
I don't. I think they're missing. I think they're going to miss out here big time. I think they are. And Danny, right on into the March Madness. The brackets are out. Number 1 seeds: Florida, Houston, Auburn, and Duke.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny, I need to look at this bracket. There's a lot of controversy, as always. Every year, there's controversy in the bracket. Who is not in? Who is in that shouldn't be?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like there's a lot of talk around North Carolina. Sounds like there's a lot of talk around Texas. I told this to somebody earlier in the week. I'm actually looking more forward to Formula One than I am to the NCAA tournament, man. That's saying a lot because, Danny, I don't know who is on the different teams in the NCAA anymore, man. The only person I know is Cooper Flag
Yeah.
on Duke. That's the only person I know, and he about to go to NBA.
Maybe.
Maybe. So I don't even know. What say you, Danny, about the NCAA bracket?
I always say this every year. For those 16 seeds that have to play in that are the smaller schools that get the automatic bid,
Mm-hmm.
like this year's Alabama State,
Mm-hmm.
St. Francis, American, Mount St. Mary's, that's dirty. it should be all the big schools playing in those games. So the games start tomorrow night. The playing games, I call it the cash grab.
Yeah.
The smaller schools shouldn't be in those games. It should be all these bigger schools that are on the tail end of being selected.
Mm-hmm.
So like North Carolina is in the playing game, Xavier's in the playing, but it should be some of those other ones too that are 11 and 12 seeds, and then open those spots up for the smaller schools, because this is their one time only, to really shine and have a chance. And if you get bounced in Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't really technically count that as the tournament. It is, but things shoot off on Thursday. So I always think that they get, the short end right there. Those, especially the four I called out this year. So I always have that gripe with this now with the 68. And it sounds like they may expand to 76. It's like, come on. Stop. Just leave it. 64 is the perfect number.
Yeah, man. At what juncture are you going way overboard?
And there's 14 teams from the SEC. Congratulations to them. I'm not hating on that, but it's like, okay. So you have 15 teams from the SEC and 12 teams from the Big Ten or whatever the case may be. So it's going to be the Power 5 schools dominating, like in football.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it gets to a point, man, people are still going to watch it because it is March Madness, but stop here. Stop at 60. I'm still, like I said, these playing games it's just, especially for these smaller schools, is lame. But
yeah, like I said, it's to a point where
mm-hmm.
I used to be really gung ho about it. Now it's kind of like I'll just probably have it on in the background,
and
that's saying a lot. I think, man. Just as we're talking about men's basketball, man, let's go into the NBA real quickly.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks Thunder faced off last night. Thunder goes into Milwaukee and handles business.
Yep.
Night before, Bucks play the Pacers. Bucks get some get back against the Pacers. I don't know, Danny. I think we're missing Bobby Portis, quite honestly. There's some opportunity there for Sims to improve over the summer. This is my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
He's a high flyer, but man, he just can't catch the ball. Or I don't know, man. It just seemed like he always fumbles the ball or something like that, man. So I don't know. I think he's gonna be good. I think we do need to keep him. I think we need to develop him because I think he'll be a good player, a good energy player.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think Bucks are just missing Bobby Portis. Going down the home run, pun intended here, stretch of the season, and Bucks just need to get it together. What say you about the NBA, Danny?
Jay, they have a tough schedule. You mentioned this last show, but they're staying in that 4 spot, which is good. They just got the Pacers are right on them. Pistons are right behind them too. So those are the two teams that would threaten them, and they're 4.5 back of the Knicks. Last night, Shea and their bigs, OKC's bigs, just ate the Bucks up in their first half, and they kind of took it over, and that was a wrap. And then Shea did what he had to do. But I agree, man. They missed Portis, and it'll be good they get him for a couple games before the playoffs just to get him in some type of shape. Right now, they would technically match up against the Pacers, and the Pacers play them well.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting first round matchup if it stays that way. So we'll see. There's still about 16 games left, but they do have a tough stretch coming up.
Thank you for joining us at Back Porch Talk Podcast. You can also join us on Twitter by tweeting us at @back_podcast. For more information, you can go to our website, which is backporchtalkpodcast.com. You can also email us at backporchtalkpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us, and remember that there's enough hate in the world, so go ahead and spread a little love.